SoFi stock is down 9% in the last 1 month, and what we are noticing is that SoFi is making lower highs and lower lows, which just goes to show that the stock is in a downward trend. On the RSI, the stock is trending downwards at 41, which is closer to its oversold territory. The volume has been drying out, and on top of it, we had Compass Point and Piper Sandler having a price cut on the SoFi stock. So in today's video, we are going to go through the stock itself, what's going on around SoFi stock, some news events, and doing a thorough technical analysis on the stock and see what are our options moving forward for this stock. If you find any value out of today's video, make sure you give us a like, and without further ado, let's dive in. Before we kick it off, I just want to make a disclaimer out here is that I am a big SoFi bull, and the reason is because SoFi is a disruptor in the financial sector. When you are a disruptor, it takes a while before you can disrupt an industry, and SoFi has been at it for a very long time now. And how is SoFi a disruptor? Well, SoFi is a disruptor in simple terms. It brings the customer all the products and services in the financial sector in one platform. It's basically to keep you in that ecosystem, and it fulfills all your financial needs for the rest of your life. That is going to help SoFi become the disruptor in the financial industry, unlike your major banks or unlike your other major financial institutions who do not have that capability yet. Now, one of the most anticipated outcomes that we are waiting for is the GAAP profitability of SoFi in Q4 and its profitable trajectory in 2024. Unless you are very new to SoFi and you have not followed its most earnings report, we'll do a quick summary here. Well, a couple of very important bullish points for about SoFi. In the quarter-over-quarter, the member growth has been phenomenal for this company. We are almost at 7 million members, and we have an year-over-year growth of 47%. Now, do I expect this to continue at the same pace? Well, probably not in the long term. Once we hit a certain threshold, we most likely will see slower growth, as we saw in companies like Netflix, that it becomes harder to get more subscribers. However, we have not reached that point for SoFi, and SoFi remains a solid growth company moving forward. Now, if you don't know what SoFi does, SoFi provides you a lot of different financial products, from mortgage to investing to banking. All your different financial needs are fulfilled by SoFi, and from their product growth, they also saw a 45% year-over-year growth in their products division as well. And this is very, very important to note that both their lending and financials products have seen tremendous growth. We saw a 24% year-over-year growth on the lending products, and you saw a 50% year-over-year growth on the financial services and products. So this encapsulates why SoFi is such a growth company. Now, there are of course other options out there in the market that you can probably look at it. They might have a higher growth rate, but SoFi's business model, SoFi is in the existence for a decent amount of time, and this is one of the reasons why I am very bullish on this stock for a long term. Here are a couple of important points that you might have missed most recently. So on November 17th, we got a price cut from $9 to $8.50 while they continue to reiterate their hold rating on the stock. November 20th, Compass Point's block now lowered their price target to $4 from $5, which basically is about 42% downside from the current price point. So apart from those two, we had a couple more changes over here. So on 11/24, we also saw Citigroup maintaining a buy rating, but they dropped their price target from $12 to $11. We talked about Piper Sandler. They keep a neutral rating with dropping from $9 to $8.50. And then we also saw Truist Securities dropping from $16 to $14. So they are definitely on the much higher side. Here's an interesting data point that you might want to see, that the short interest on the company has been rising, and it's now at a 13.85. Now, if we switch the time from 3 months to 1 month, we still see a major bump in the short interest. When it comes to insider momentum, we saw 3 transactions in the sell side and 3 transactions on the buy side, but we saw 3.99 million shares being sold versus only 544,000 shares on the buy side. Most recently, we saw the CEO again buying SoFi stocks at 6.5, which seems to be his favorite area. 6.5, always he tends to buy those stocks. If you notice that we had Chad Barton, who was awarded almost 209,000 stocks at $0. He sold 189,000 stocks at 7.32, so he definitely made a good chunk of money over there. And this graph shows you in the last 6 months, we have seen as the stock price goes up, there is a lot of folks from insider take advantage of selling those stocks. The CEO continues to buy stocks for the long term. Again, gives you a lot of credibility in the company. So that is not the only reason, but definitely one of the main reasons why we continue to remain bullish on the company, which is SoFi. All right, let's hop into the charts for SoFi and see where we are heading. Well, looking at the chart at this point in time, we saw SoFi trading around the 435, which was in the middle of May, before we had that major Nvidia run, and pretty much took the entire stock market on a major bull run. And because of that, we saw these major gap ups, as you can see over here, and then a little bit of a pullback, and then the stock really hit its all-time high for this year of $11.70. Since then, the stock has been trending downwards. You can see that we are currently making lower highs and lower lows. The stock is it's below its 20, 50 and 200-day moving average, which generally gives you that the stock has a very bearish momentum at the current point in time. The stock hit its all-time low of $4.24 last December. So if you ended up buying the stock at that point of time, you're still up tremendously on your investment. Now, looking at the RSI, we are also trending slightly downwards at 43, which is closer to the oversold territory, but still there is a lot of room for stock to drop in case that happens. But there's something interesting that is going on with SoFi, and this is the volume profile. You can see that there's a lot more buying happening at these levels, and especially around this level of 720 there's a lot more buyers stepping it. We still have a lot more buying power at the levels of 6.96 and 6.77, and that's the reason why you see a lot more bounce coming at these levels. When the stock dips, you see a lot more buying pressure coming in, and the stock is trying to hover upwards. Now, one of the things is because this week was much shorter week, we saw a pretty big drop in the volume, especially on Fridays. Since the markets were only open till 1 p.m., we saw a major drop in the volume. We should see the volume picking back up next week when there is a full trading week. So if I want to get into SoFi, or if I want to add more SoFi, what is the level that I should be eyeing? And what I'm seeing here is that we had initial support at 720. However, we did see this breaking of the support, and the stock is trying to keep to that level of $7.20, because from there onward we would see a major drop all the way to $5.97, and that aligns with the volume profile, because you will probably not have enough buying power. If the stock is not able to hold this level, we could see a drop all the way to $5.97, because there is not much buying happening in this little gap of $6.55 all the way to $6.26. So we could see further declines all the way down to $5.97, and then of course if the stock continues to dip further, you will see more buying coming at $4.95. But we are far from that, and this is the level that I would want to see SoFi trending around, holding the 720 as their support level. As you know, I love trading options, and the best way to accumulate stocks, especially for long term, is when the stocks are trading below its 200-day moving average. That is the time that you should dollar cost average into the stock. If you are an investor who likes to dollar cost average, this could be a good investment point to add slowly to your position, not putting the entire money up front. In case you want to accumulate stocks via options, and I love the cash secured put strategy. So in case you don't know what cash secured put is, I'll be putting the link over here. You can check it out. But basically what you will do is, if you open a cash secured put, you will get the premium, and it will lower your cost basis. So if you like to own a stock at $6.50 a month out, you will get about $27 on it, with a delta of 33, which is not too high. And then you also have an implied volatility of about 58, so this is not high either. And then you have some open interest, which is decent, 2,700, but you have a much more open interest at 5.5, which is kind of hedging your bet in case the stock dips further. Now, at the time of this recording, the markets are closed, so these numbers will get updated as the market opens up. And in case there is a Santa rally where the stock market actually makes its all-time highs, you will see changes in this options contract altogether, depending upon the time you're watching. If I want to go out further to increase my premium, what I would do is I would look at 19th January, and I would look at somewhere around the 30 delta, which is not there. So which is the closest to 30 delta would be around the $6 mark. So on our chart over here, the $6, currently the stock is around 736. And if you believe in any of the analyst price targets, even at $8.50 for Piper Sandler or other companies that have $9, $8, getting the stock at about $6, it's still something that I could aim to do. This will give me about 28 cents on a $6, which is about 4.6% return. And basically I'm getting the shares at $5.72 as a cost basis. Those are a couple plays that I'm looking at. I could do a 30-day out, or I could do about 2 months out, which is 55 days from the time of this recording, the January, which looks a lot more promising as I'm getting a little bit higher return on the overall. Are you buying on this recent decline on the stock, or are you going to be waiting and watching and seeing if the stock goes further down? Let me know in the comments what are your thoughts about SoFi, and in case you enjoyed today's video, make sure you give us a like, click on subscribe and ring the bell notification. I will see you next time, investor family, but don't forget to invest for tomorrow.